Gather close now, children. Gather close and listen, for I have a story to tell you, a true story from the days when the world was young and new. It was a time like no other. Can you imagine? The whole world spoke one language. Every grandfather, every mother, every tiny child, they all understood each other perfectly. There were no strange words, no confusing sounds. When someone laughed, everyone knew why. When someone called your name, you turned with joy. They were one people, a single happy family spread across the earth. And they journeyed together until they came to a wide, beautiful plain, a land called Shinar. And they looked at that land and said, in a thoughtful, planning voice, "Look, this place is good. Let us settle here. Let us stay together forever." But among them stood a man named Nimrod. He was mighty. He was bold. His chest swelled with pride, like a hunter who has caught the biggest game. And Nimrod looked at all those people, thousands upon thousands, and a fire kindled in his eyes. He climbed to the top of a hill and raised his arms high. "Listen to me," he thundered. "We are strong. We are one. And together, there is nothing we cannot do." The people cheered. They loved his confidence. They loved his vision. "We will build a city," Nimrod declared, "the greatest city the world has ever known." The people murmured with excitement. A city? Their own city? But Nimrod wasn't finished. He lifted his finger and pointed straight up, straight toward the clouds, straight toward the blue beyond. "And in that city," he shouted, his voice ringing across the plain, "we will build a tower." The crowd gasped. A tower so high that its top will reach the heavens. Can you imagine? They wanted to touch the sky. They wanted to reach God's own home. "We will make a name for ourselves," Nimrod cried. "We will be famous. We will never be scattered across the earth." And the people? Oh, the people erupted with joy. They shouted. They danced. The children jumped up and down, pointing at the sky, dreaming of touching the sun. So the great work began. Fire. They needed fire. Kilns blazed across the plain, glowing orange against the night like 1,000 angry stars. They baked bricks, not simple stones, but hard, strong bricks, fired until they were perfect. And they found tar, thick, black, sticky tar, that oozed between the bricks and held them tighter than anything ever made. "Brick," one worker would shout. "Tar," another would answer. Slap, stack, pass, slap, stack, pass. They worked like a mighty machine, every person in perfect rhythm, every voice in perfect harmony. And the tower began to rise. First, it was as tall as a man, then as tall as 2 men, then taller than the tallest tree you've ever seen. Dot. The children had to crane their necks back so far they almost fell over, just to see the top. "Higher," Nimrod commanded. "Higher!" Week after week, month after month, the tower pierced the clouds. The workers on top were hidden in mist. Nimrod climbed to the highest platform. He stood above the clouds, the wind whipping his cloak. The whole world spread beneath his feet like a tiny map. And he spread his arms wide, like a king, like a god, and he shouted into the wind, "We are." Great! Down below, the people heard his faint cry, and they chanted his name. "Nimrod! Nimrod! Nimrod!" Pride filled every heart. Pride in their hands, pride in their tower, pride in themselves. They looked at that tower, scraping the sky, and they thought, "We don't need God, we have us." But God saw. High above, in the heaven they thought they could reach, God looked down. He didn't look with anger, children. No, he looked with sadness, with love, with a heavy heart. for he saw what they could not see. He saw their pride growing like a weed. He saw them forgetting the one who gave them hands to build, voices to shout, minds to dream. And the Lord said, "Come, let us go down." Can you feel it? The creator of the universe, stepping down to look at a little tower built by little people on a little planet. And what happened next changed everything. Morning came, bright and clear, perfect for building. Nimrod stood on his platform, chest out, smile wide. He pointed at a worker carrying bricks. "Take those to the top," he commanded. "Quickly now." The worker stopped. He stared at Nimrod, his head tilted like a confused puppy. What? The worker said. Nimrod frowned. "I said, take the bricks! Move!" But when the worker opened his mouth, strange sounds came out. Sounds that made no sense. Sounds that were not language. "Mafufu zizi?" the worker said, his own eyes wide with confusion. Nimrod's smile vanished. His face went pale. Another worker on a high scaffold shouted down to his friend, "Hey, pass me a brick!" But the words that tumbled from his mouth were, "Pleep-gorp, noodaloo!" The friend below looked up terrified. "What did you say?" he cried. But his words came out, "Fitz, bloop-bleep." Confusion spread like wildfire. "Brick, Fitz, Gazorn, what? Huh? Bloop!" Voices overlapped in chaos. No one understood anyone. It was a noise, a terrible, scary noise, where beautiful music used to be. Nimrod ran among them, desperate. "Stop! Everyone stop! Listen to me!" But they didn't listen. They couldn't listen. His words were just more strange sounds to their ears. Panic, pure panic. A brick slipped from shaking hands. It tumbled through the air, end over end, falling, crash. It exploded on the ground below. Dust billowed up like smoke. Screams, terrible screams. Workers argued in languages they didn't recognize. Families huddled together, afraid of their own neighbors. Children cried, clinging to their parents, because mommy and daddy sounded like strangers. The great tower, the mighty tower, the tower that would reach heaven, stood silent and abandoned. The scaffolding creaked in the wind, empty, hollow, dead. Nimrod climbed down slowly, step by step by step. No cheers greeted him, no chanting, no glory. Just the wind, just the dust, just the sound of his own lonely footsteps. He reached the bottom and looked up. The top was hidden in clouds, but those clouds seemed farther away than ever, and he understood. Deep in his heart, he understood. You cannot reach heaven with bricks. You cannot impress God with towers. You cannot make yourself great by shouting. The people began to leave. Families gathered their things. Those who still spoke the same language huddled together and walked away, toward the mountains, toward the rivers, toward the distant lands. Tearful goodbyes between friends who could no longer speak. Just sad eyes, just waves, just silence. The city emptied. The kilns went cold. The tents flapped empty in the breeze. And a whisper spread among those who departed. Babel, Babel. For there the Lord confused the language of the whole world, and from there the Lord scattered them across the face of all the earth. The tower still stands, children. To this day, somewhere far away, its ruins remain, an unfinished monument, a silent reminder. Nimrod, what happened to Nimrod? He walked away, smaller now, quieter. He remembered his proud words. We will make a name for ourselves. But the name that was remembered was not Nimrod. It was Babel, confusion. The place where God reminded a proud world who was really in charge. But here's the good news, little ones. The good news is this: even after Babel, God did not abandon his people. He saw them scattered across the earth, speaking different languages, living in different lands. And he loved them still, every single one. For you see, God doesn't want towers built by proud hands. He doesn't want names shouted by loud voices. He wants something simpler, something sweeter, something smaller. He wants your heart, just your heart, humble and open and ready to love him. Because heaven cannot be reached by bricks and tar, but heaven can be reached by a prayer, a simple, quiet prayer from a child who loves God. And that, dear children, is the story of the Tower of Babel, a story of pride, and a story of God's patient, endless love. May you always remember, his ways are higher than our ways, and his love reaches higher than any tower ever could.